Alrighty. Let's do this real quick. There we go. Now that's better. More in line with the screen. So it would appear we're live. So let's see how this goes. I'm gonna let it do stuff for a minute while this starts. Let's go ahead and send this out to some folks, I suppose. We'll see how that goes. See if anybody even comes in tonight. And Fridays historically are not the best nights. Yeah. Now, let's see if this even worked, or I'm still like private somehow, because I'm... Good. Hey, John, there you are. Just making sure this guy was up and running. Everything sound okay? Get drunk? Yeah, that's what I need to do. It's on my list of things. But how you doing, man? Oh, we can liberate prison camps? Or there's bunkers? Some interesting elements to this. Hey, Jared, what's up, man? Yeah, I was hoping Antonio would live stream some. Gosh, I messaged him to see if he wants to jump on Skype or something. Just gonna drink and watch the tutorial for a minute. Because I always fail to get my infantry or engineers up to the front whenever I'm playing this game. Well, how's everybody doing tonight? Hope it's good. Yeah, his mic was having issues because NVIDIA released this new fantastic like noise canceling type software, but it seems like it's kind of problematic. I'll have you know, John, I haven't died in the first mission in this game in a while. I'll have you know. Let's go and restart this and watch that beautiful military madness intro. From NEC. 1989 Hudson Soft. Get that delightful. There we go. 21st century. I am indeed playing on a real TurboGraphx 16. This is going through a OSSC, but before that it's going through something called a Kuro, which is a composite slash S-video converter to RGB, or component. Gabber, what's up, man? How you doing? Just feeling some TG16 right now. That's kind of what I've been obsessing about with my long-ass script. Like, I'm really concerned this video is going to be over a half hour long. I'm like, no! I've been doing, for part of the day today I was doing voiceover stuff, and then last night I was doing, on-camera talks, and then a couple days before that I was doing some filming, and then been working on 3D models. Well, working with 3D models. I commissioned a guy to make some models for me. So that's nice. But I was even talking to Satomaru, because I know he has a CD unit for his, a turbo CD, so I asked him to film that. YouTube likes long quarantine videos, yeah. Oh god, YouTube just likes long-ass freaking videos, period, now. This is kind of how it goes. So yeah, my last couple of 10-minute videos, absolutely zero promotion. Like, I wasn't even showing it to subscribers of mine. I'm like, thanks, YouTube. You're the best. One player continue. What? We saw that. Got the revolt going on, and moon-based, I guess. So I like to position my guys in the hills here. Get my tanks ready to push. Canalize them at the bridge there. That's the way to do it. Canalize, fun doctrinal term, if you're into that. Hey Jared, how you been, man? Because you moved to, what, more of the west of Canada, right? Infantry over here, we're moving to capture the city. Oh, you want me to attack? Okay. Alright. This is a dead even fight. Ow! Okay. East Ottawa to British Columbia. Canbrook. So is that like more towards family for you, or? Jesus, satellite internet? What is that like? What is that like? 3 down, 0.4 up? Ah, there's an Ottawa. Gotcha. I remember you saying, like, what, you guys moved to Ottawa because of maternity leave, right? Or something like that? Man. If I was commanding a tank column coming across a bridge, God, you'd be totally wiped out by anyone attacking you at that point. Just because you guys are all in a freaking straight line. One down, 0.6 up. Jesus. Yeah, it makes sense why you couldn't really, support that whole endeavor. Is the internet finally better? Alright, let's wipe these tanks out. Hey, Seven, what's up, man? So, what are you saying, 7? YouTube trying to sell? Oh, sell you Quibbly. Oh, gotcha. Oh, God. Who's going to lose their shirt on that one? Jesus. 600 down, 500 up? Jesus, man. You should become a full-time streamer with that kind of internet. Yeah, I finally upgraded, like, here. I get, allegedly, 300 down and 50 up. But, no. It's not quite that, that good. Now, did any of you get notifications of this stream going up, or do you see it in the Discord? Because really curious, because I've noticed something about it. If I start a stream just before 10, notifications actually get out. But if I begin a bit after, it tends to, like, not tell anyone. You got notified? Okay, yeah, Discord only? Okay. Yeah, YouTube hates me. That's how that works. Get a notification every night from you on YouTube. every night. Or every night I've streamed, you mean. Okay. God, these infantry are just surviving these attacks like champs. Yeah, I did get Bonk's Adventure, finally, so yeah. Hey, Zeromancer, what's up, man? Yeah, I finally picked up, I finally got Bonk, so I can play that, that staple of TG16. Yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't really... I've seen some interesting things, like Quibbly's offering some, like, celebrity-catered content. Well, not catered, but celebrity-manufactured content that are all designed around, like, 10 minutes, what, 10, 15 minutes a piece or something like that? Which I guess I can see the appeal, but I can't really see anybody really wanting to pay for that when, like, yeah, when YouTube and Twitch are very, very free. Truly go. Truly bonkers. Quibbly equal not free TikTok. Well, I mean, does Quibbly actually allow for user-generated content, or isn't it all, like, highly produced stuff? So I'm going to send one trooper up into the passes here. Actually, no, let's send a second trooper into the passes there. Third, you'll move up with the 10 core. Let's go ahead and take the high ground and let them come to us. The last 4 weeks, 10 of your streams. Oh, okay, that's good. I pay $50 a month for my internet. Damn. Yeah, I really wish there were other options in Idaho. I pay $89 for 300 down and 40 or 50 up. So Jesus. I would love that kind of internet for $50. Ah, you've come right into my trap. Yeah. Yeah, but the only time I've ever had, like, success in getting a deal was when, like Verizon, they were just screwing me on a rollover data thing. Ah, damn it. And I was like, I'm just gonna go to T-Mobile after work today. And they're like, oh, wait. And then they, like, gave me a bunch of free data for, like, 6 months. Jumps to $199? Jesus. Family. CR Gaming, how you doing, man? I do have Splatterhouse. That's always a something I eventually play. I find I like to save that for when I'm a little more inebriated, because that game is just brutal. But how you doing? Let's try to shoot some infantry in the hills, shall we? What I find intriguing about this, but this game still follows the conventional tank concept that tanks are just absolute war winners. When now, like, you arm a bunch of infantry in the hills with javelins, they can wreak some serious havoc. It has, but yeah, now that I have Bonk, I'm like, let's check that one out. I don't know, I really want to get R-Type. Freaking Raiden Trad would be a great one to get, but that one's, like, pretty expensive. I don't know, thanks to Zeromancer sending me more TG16 stuff, I'm like, man, I need to collect more of this, because this stuff's a pretty good console. Man, just the stuff going on in NEC behind the curtain, man. Just, oh, it's tragic. Keith Courage? Oh, God. That's a solid title. Yeah, R-Type on this system is pretty fantastic. I have a buddy of mine at the TG16, he has R-Type. God, this tank commander's an idiot. Like, he threw himself in between 4 different little, like, platoons there. That's just suicide. Wait, is Monday Matt even still relevant? NEC could still be in the... Oh, I don't know, it's kind of a... it's really, I don't know, the whole thing is really fascinating. I don't know enough about the PC Engine side of things. I just know a lot about the mistakes that NEC made in North America. And they're really glaring. Like, it's fascinating. They just had, like, all the wrong people. And it's just amazing that they didn't see it. Like, I'm kind of surprised NEC didn't try to poach more talent from different companies. But they, like, really didn't, which is just strange. Because, like, pretty much Nintendo and Sega were trying to poach people constantly from each other. But NEC was just not in the equation at all. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the CD, because you had the TurboGraphx Duo that came out later. But that was more, that was less NEC, and that was more TTI. Turbo Technologies Institute or something like that. I can't remember what the acronym is. But that was after Hudson Soft took over, and NEC was like, we're out. We done goofed. I'm surprised my name that's still a thing. I really find it hard to believe anything could have saved the Justice League movies. But that's just me, though. I need to refill my drink here in a sec. I'll be right back. Next time in a sec, just right now. I'll be right back. I lied. Ah. Alright. We're back. But yeah, I don't really know enough about the PC Engine side of the house to know if NEC could have, like, stayed in the game longer. But it seems like a lot of kind of basic mistakes were made, and especially a lot of the mistakes made around the deal they worked out with Hudson Soft in terms of, like, because Hudson Soft developed the CPU and the graphic processor, every one of these things being manufactured, Hudson Soft was getting a cut, and NEC was getting nothing, basically. Well, NEC was having to basically front the cost for all manufacture, but they were still paying Hudson Soft for every console made, so it's kind of an odd deal, because at least it was like the 3DO, for example, when Tripp organized that whole thing. He had worked out a deal in such a manner where companies could build the system however they wanted, license-free, and that was how he got people on board. And so he was only making money off the games being sold. And even then, it was not necessarily that much. Oh, hey, Sam. Hey, Sam's girlfriend. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are enjoying a random TurboGraphx stream. It's in the Tank Core South here. Another thing, only infantry can capture these buildings, so I have to essentially finish the fight up in those hills with their forces until it's over. But yeah. Well, I hope you guys are all doing well. So I got a 40% terrain multiplier, they got 20, so it looks like they moved lower. Okay. Okay, so it should be... Yeah. Huh. That's a delay when I respond to stuff. I have it set to ultra low right now. Kind of curious how quick that response time is. Wait for the troops to be in. Oh, I guess I could have sent the tanks out. Damn. Done messed up. Done goofed. I remember when I was at I don't know if any of you guys know what NTC is. It's a large national training center in Southern California. It's like hundreds of miles of desert where you can just do giant, like, open area maneuvers of entire battalions and and brigades. And so you could basically fight an entire mock war in like this rural area of California. And I just remember, like, we had this whole thing, like, I'm manning I'm manning the CP at like 3 in the morning, and I get this random thing from like the brigade folks telling me to like move our entire battalion forward, like 3 clicks. And this is like the first time our guys had gotten to sleep in like 2 days of like fighting and moving across the desert. And I had like my battalion commander was like passed out in a bunk because the dude hadn't slept in like 3 days. And I'm sitting there like looking like, do I really want to wake him up for this? But yeah, I'm just like, shit. And my battalion commander at the time was a really fucking scary guy. Yeah, it was just funny. So I'm like, ooh, fun times. Just this terrain and the way it's set up reminds me of it. Because, like, what's funny is if you lay this over NTC, it would actually look pretty similar. You'd have, like, Fort Irwin down here, and then you'd have, like, a city called Rajesh over here, and some other stuff. But that's just funny to me that it looks like the National Training Center to me when I look at it now. Yeah, just me. But yeah, I've been sitting there, like, just manning the CP, like, running radios, taking in reports and all that stuff. And I'm like, ah, shit. So, like, had to move, like, and the annoying thing was, like, the company commanders just weren't manning their fucking radios at night. So I'm sitting there, like, spamming on the freaking radio. I'm like, wake the fuck up. Gotta move, come on. Oh, God, it was funny. Because it was even fucking weirder, because, there was this, like, I'm a chemical officer, but so I was embedded with the tank unit because I'm their advisor for that kind of stuff. But there was a chemical company that was out there, and somehow, because I don't know, like their little platoon leader was just an idiot, and so he, for whatever reason, thought he needed to move up, and he moved up with a bunch of like special forces guys that were like doing advanced like attack, calling in airstrikes type shit, and what? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was stuck telling this stupid story. Sorry, but just this like chemical company commander like moved his shit up for like I think it's platoon leader or something. I don't know. Anyway, moved his guys up with the fucking Ranger Special Forces guys. It was just ridiculous. Yeah, Zero Man Zero. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, if one of you guys wouldn't mind just hitting that, sending something, and I'll respond to it the second I see it. I don't know, it could just be the freaking chat on this thing is just slow as crap, actually. Alright, I saw that. Well, it could be anywhere between 20 seconds and a minute. Let me do this. I'm gonna open the YouTube chat window here, which was suggested by Jeremy Dixon the last time I did this. One sec here. Wow. Might have a double here, or a double feed here for a sec. One sec, guys. Yeah, because man, this is awful freaking response time on this. Yeah, just woefully inaccurate. Yeah, there we go. Alright, come on. Gotta wait to kill that enemy forces in the hills there. You paid $4.99. Oh boy, that's a failing business model right there. But I hope you guys are having a great night so far. I know I am. Finally, actually didn't have to go in. Oh my, because usually I work 410s, so I didn't have to go in on Friday. Because I had some coordinate some other events last weekend, like last week where I was like in for several hours on Friday. I worked like 48 hours or something like that in a week. I'm like, I gotta wait for these guys. Well, I mean, like, I know my Pixel 4 can do pretty high resolution. I don't know if it's 4K or not, but yeah, it's just kind of that's kind of goofy. But, like, yeah, 4K content, smartphones. Charlie GX77. God, these guys are like gold star veterans now. Like, my guys have a bunch of stars, so what's the difference there? I don't know. Hey, Alpha Chip, man, how you doing? Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I know my Pixel 4 can do a fair amount of resolution. I don't know if it's particularly high or not. Well, high enough to be 4K anyway. Let's move there. Let's go ahead and move this guy. I was too busy fighting in the mountains to pay attention to the rest of my forces, apparently. Yeah, my wife has a Pixel 3. Because her Pixel 2 tragically died in a car accident. That, by that I mean it was left on the hood of the car as she drove somewhere. But yeah, eating mushrooms. Well, I hope my voice will give you a nice, soothing trip and not a bad episode or something along those lines. But Colin, how you doing, man? Hey, Kevin Ball, how you doing, dude? Haven't seen you in a few days. My god, how is this unit still alive? It's this one guy refusing to die in the mountains. Oh, Anzac Day, alright. Photos are taken it, okay. Sounds like man, the Soviets in Afghanistan though, they were pretty brutal in some respects because they would do, like what they would do is they would try and bait the Afghans into a fight, and they'd have the Afghans engage them from the mountains. They had guys down in a valley that would draw their fire, and then they would fly a crap ton of Spetsnaz in just the Hinds, which are basically flying troop carriers, and drop a crap ton of them in the passes behind them, and just try and just kill everybody, basically. So the Soviets were just stupid hardcore about the way they were doing it. Afghans do not know how to quit. Say that in there. It's like other commanders. Oh god, if any of you guys are ever interested in reading a book about the Soviet war in Afghanistan, there's one called The Bear Goes Over the Mountains. Freaking fantastic book talking about the Soviet experience. No! Screwed that up. Alright. But, because there's also another, what's the manual called? There's a New Generation Russian Warfare that goes into it a bit. Then there's another handbook that the U.S. Army produced via the Marine Corps that goes into Afghanistan as well. It's like mistakes and failures. But yeah. I don't know if any of you are interested in that or not, but yeah. Okay. Alright. Okay, so a tank in the north, I probably should have dug in a little bit. Need to move on my infantry. Let's move you here. This is the one I always seem to have problems with, or it might be the next one. We'll see. Go through my subscriptions and clicked on one when I am... What? Oh, YouTube are weird as hell sometimes. What's the Soviet invasion of Quibbly? Well, probably not. I mean, with the, Ah, okay, yeah, Jeremy, I've been told that some people aren't having notifications. What are you doing, man? Oh man, my tank in the north's gonna get wrecked. Okay, so we'll do this. We'll move you here, defend and die in place. I'll leave one infantry unit over here to defend the hillside, hopefully being able to stop any enemy infantry. These are my goals. I'm going to try and get one infantry unit into this building, capture the city, and then push directly to that. We'll see what happens. Hey, Ron Mike, how you doing, man? Pulling a Quibbly was that idea. Ow. Holy crap, that was one long-ass move. Hanging out and playing Fallout 2. Oh. Man, I haven't played Fallout 1 in a long ass time. It's a mechanized infantry. I think 2 little baby tanks there in the back. That was pretty adorable. Didn't start... Really? I played Fallout 1 and 2 pretty aggressively when I was younger. Was never particularly good at them, though. I think you might be getting better at those. I understand the game mechanics a little more. So I'm just going to leave you up here and just let you fight and die in place. Yeah, New Vegas is great. Oh, boring, come on! What the hell, Mike? Come on! The moon is 75. Okay. Oh, what? Come on. Stupid artillery softening me up. I think it was, well, how would you describe it? The, Soviet Union was going through some problems around that time. Spoke too soon. Yeah, I didn't realize, Didn't realize these guys would do so well. Come on, we can get these guys and destroy these freaking paladins. Come on. The question is, how bad did these guys hurt attack? Guess we'll find out. Ow! Yeah, that hurt a lot. Okay. Oh, I boned that one. But it's one of those things where, like, Vietnam was a case where the U.S. military won pretty much every battle they ever fought. But it's just, you can't fight a war for longer than X amount of time with that much brutality and just, you know, think your people will have the political will to do it. With the exception of how we kind of do it now. Soviet Union, it was one of those things where it just started turning into a thing where we started arming them with Stinger missiles and made it, I guess, it was incredibly brutal for them to keep going. Oh, man, I love GoBots. Oh, come on, you guys can wreck those out. Ah, come on. There we go. Gotta get those guys to that city. That's my only hope at this point. With the Hind D. Yeah, Stingers love the Mel Hinds. I don't see how guys with a bunch of AT4s are very good against infantry. Alright, whatever. Hate that. My god, the freaking chat window in this new YouTube sucks. It's like a solid 5 seconds behind, like, the actual stream. That's garbage. Battle trolls. Yeah, I mean, also just... Vietnamese, historically, are just... really, really good defenders. And these are people like that beat the Chinese Imperial Army by taking the time to painstakingly build giant iron spikes in one of their bays and just destroyed an entire Imperial Chinese fleet by just trapping them there. It's just fascinating stuff. Alright. Alright, we'll move you there. Hopefully the tanks will draw their fire. Ugh, come on. Ah, shit. So I wish I understood their attack power based on... Ugh. Damn it. Three tanks to their 6. 1 infantry unit to there. Okay, alright, I guess we'll suicide into their freaking AT guys here. What else can I do, really? That hurts. Hey, Antonio, what's up, man? I like strat kids for some reason. Fair enough. Oh, they killed each other. I have 1 tank to their 6 with 1 infantry unit. Their 1 infantry. Okay, so this is a bad situation. Oh, like that, Antonio. But I hope you're doing well. I think my mistake is I need to be just 100% defensive in this one, but they have those freaking paladins that just hurt. So it's like, shit. Alright. And looks like I'm going to be just defending forever. Yeah, I'm drinking rum and coke myself, so yeah. Yep, and the moon's about to fall to the evil Earth Empire, or whatever it is. Marty Moose, how's it going, man? If I could go back in time, 1991, 1984, I would unpurchase my Sega CD and Atari Jaguar. Yeah, honestly, in terms of like monetary value or monetary return on your investment, I think TurboGraphx stuff would definitely be a good way to go. Because holy crap, is TurboGraphx stuff expensive. Let's just hold out as long as we can. Make these Earth Sphere Alliance folks just bleed. Before it was cool. Oh, do you have a Turbo CD, Antonio, or no? I know you have like the Turbo Booster, right, for the save functionality. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched. It's over. The Battle of the Moon ended in a sweeping victory for the evil Axis. I love it. Can you imagine just like a country calling themselves the evil Axis Empire? Oh, the booster, okay. The pleasure of playing the games. I don't know, I'm a pretty big fan of the Sega CD, honestly. Jaguar, I'm not a huge fan of that one. A lot of the more expensive titles I bought later, like AVP, I've been rather disappointed with. It's before or after the whalers on the moon that carry a harpoon. But there ain't no whales, so they just keep singing their whaling song. AVP. Well, I'm going to refill my drink, guys. I'll be right back. One sec. Oh, Cat Metro, what's up, man? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Hey, game over. Like, this is where I normally get crushed on the moon. Oh man. Oh yeah, rough combos. I've never actually checked out Tempest on the Jaguar, but yeah. 14 frames a second, not fun. Sega CD had like 5 good games or so. Jaguar had Wolfenstein, Tempest, 2000, and Burnout. 3 good games. Well, I kind of liked Iron Soldier, but I guess if you compare that to the stuff that was available at the time, really, really not. I mean, there were definitely more innovative mech shooters and stuff like that, even on the Sega CD in comparison. Let's go ahead and play some Bonk's Adventure for a little bit here. Yeah, I think we're going to play, oh boy. Oh yeah, I typically turn down the game audio quite a bit, because it usually gets pretty blared out. Turned up just a hair for you guys. Came to see Keith's. Oh, on the Jaguar. Misread that one. Hmm. Oh boy. Hey Chris, how you doing, man? Yeah. Yeah, I was showing this game to my daughter, and she was really, really, really liking it. But she's also 2.5, so take that as it is. Can you turn the turbo? Let's do that infinite spin. Oh, what? Come on! It's crap. Star Wars, oh, alright. That's a good reference, I like it. Ah! The carrots and onions do. And if you get the meat, it gets all like angry. Know that? But well, I mean, to be fair, what the Jaguar when it came to market was like what, $199? I mean, that's pretty freaking cheap. Like, well, I guess cheap in comparison to the stuff that was out there. Even for like the 64 bits, like you had the 3DO, which was 32 bits, the CDI, all that. Those consoles were like $799, so that's kind of. You could see why. God, I remember being I was at a KB Toys back in the day, checking out a Jaguar and thinking it was pretty impressive. Meat is angry. Ah, man. 32X got boned. That thing should have came out as the Nemo. That would have been great. Oh god! The hell was that? primitive man killing everything in his path. Ah. Oh, sorry, Neptune, my bad. No, sorry, Nemo was the Hasbro Nemo, which was the VHS standalone system that they were originally producing Night Trap and stuff on. Sorry. I've had about 3 drinks now so far. The Neptune, the standalone 32X Genesis. I hate you, Jeremy. TurboGraphx, how's it going, man? Yeah, I don't think I've seen you in a while. TurboGraphx. I know you do. Okay, I was wondering if your graphics grant. That's what I was imagining it was, but yeah. Did I? Wait, what? Son of a bitch, it did. Great. I have the console right here in front of me, and I'm like, PH. Too late to change it now. That's what we're going with. Oh man, I freaking love my Genesis. I have like 8 of them now. Ow. Oh, stop. Oh, what? Damn it! Oh my god. Ah! Froth in the mouth. Didn't even notice the typo. Oh, that's funny. Guy just lays there. So peaceful. So he just gets up. Gotcha. Oh, come on. Ah! That just seems cheap. The way that was done. Oh. I think the jump button on my controller is a little worn. Why is that moon following me so aggressively? Bird. It has oh, okay. It's the game. It's not me. All right. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, the float you're talking about is this. Oh god. I don't remember hearing about these in freaking history. Oh wait, I'm on a dinosaur. Okay. Ah! God, I love just him frothing from the mouth. This game's gonna simulate the time he's been. That's really brutal. Let's see, you go max. Okay. There, so you can just fly like this across the entire map, huh? Alright, then apparently I want to go into his stomach. That seems like a terrible idea. Jump onto his larynx there. I'm assuming a lot of these games were made with the TurboGraphx, well, the PC engine in mind that didn't initially have the turbo controls, right? It's not relaxing. Ooh! Oh, that's like a stomach parasite, not like a larynx or something like that. Okay. Wah, wah, wah. Okay. Oh, the JVC-XI. Yeah, there's well, there's two variants of that, right? There's like the really cool, smooth-looking one, and then there's a really kind of hard circular design in that one. And I guess the only drawback to a lot of those ones is you can't open the CD tray if you have the 32X in them. It's kind of a shame there isn't like an all-in-one CD unit that incorporated the 32X by the end there. That was very much towards the end of the life of the Genesis. Male Arya Stark. Ah. Let's just fly to the end and see how this goes for us. Ah! Hey, but Antonio, if you're still in the chat, man, if you want to jump on Skype, let me know. I guess you can do this. Sick here. Just fly like that, huh? These are the plans to launch you up and just fly to the end of the level. What? Oh, they were talking. You sure, Chris? Like I tend to post a lot of stuff daily most of the time. Well, not daily, but I try to keep up with it daily. Oh, voice chatting. Yeah, it's not really used much for that. I set up a game voice channel in the hopes that guys would start playing like Steam and stuff together. But I guess I should probably just organize a community event at some point and just pick like a Steam game or something to get some guys in there. I just unfortunately I never have like time during the week really anymore. Oh wait, if you have the rage thing on, you do a head slam to the ground to stun everybody? I'm very curious. Now, what do you guys think of quarantine head shaves? I think I'm doing an okay job here, but we'll find out. I like that it doesn't have, like, I feel like Sonic and Mario fall into that trope of having, like, just timers for whatever reason. I feel like for Mario, that's like a remnant of the arcade concept they're going for. Jonathan G, how you doing, man? Oh my god. I love that you can just fly across the freaking level. God, that jump delay is frustrating. Just gonna skip through all this. Use your teeth. Yeah. Yeah! I don't know why this game reminds me of like that animation reminds me a lot of The Simpsons for some reason. There we go. I thought you were doing the Mohawk, Jeremy. Appreciate the donation, Jonathan. Bach gonna get canceled. Oh no. Traded DuckTales 2 to a game store for an XIX. Ah. Ren and Stimpy, yeah, I can see that. Oh man. I'm like scrolling on the moon. Ah, you weren't able to cut around? Okay. Oh yes. Oh my god, can't talk anymore. Just the right amount of rum. Smeal, how you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a couple days. Ah. Damn snail. You can just go back and forth. It's kind of great. Man, it's kind of funny. I busted out an old tote in the garage and gave a bunch of my old dinosaur toys from when I was a kid to my daughter. She's just all about them. But she's recently been more about Godzilla. Which is, I'm pretty happy with. Godzilla kind of rules. What are they going to do, the ColecoVision Mini? No, there still is. Tommy Tallarico is... I guess he's on the verge of launching it. The Intellivision Amico, right? But a Mint Master System controller. You know, I really like the Master System. I like the hard triangular design because it's like very much the... What would you call that? The continuation of the SG-1000 design. But like, man, that square D-pad, dude, just... I suck with that. Yeah, I'm just really... it's so... I just make so many mistakes with it. I bought a ColecoVision at Dollar General. Oh, man. I still need to get a freaking, that pause button, though. Like, gotta get up and freaking hit that shit across. Oh, man. Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah, the Atari VCS. So that one's an entirely new, whole, weird thing. Oh. Oh, Godzuki. Oh god, yeah. Actually, I was what? Because Godzuki has like the up from the depths, 20 stories tall, Godzilla, and Godzuki, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think I've sung that song to her, but I haven't really shown her that. So I haven't like gone looking for it. Oh god. Ah! Oh my god, it's so dark! Oh, that is... Oh, it's kind of... God, it's interesting. Yeah, I would... I guess you could say they had the, pause thing copyrighted, maybe. But just because of the square D-pad and all that, I could see how that could be confused for copyright infringement, but... Nintendo wasn't necessarily the friendliest people back then. Oh man, I used to be way into Rugrats too. Yeah, I still need a ColecoVision. That's like one of the things that's on my list of, got to get past these antibodies here, or whatever you call those. There's a turbo button there. I'd very much like to go down whatever particular digestive tract this is. Come on. Oh. There we go. Okay. Holy crap. But yeah, God, the VCS, that's an entirely new, just, scam project? I don't know what you'd call it, because like, they don't really clearly have a business plan. At least the Amico, with Tommy Tellerico, he has, it's like fully funded, he has a product ready to go to market. He's going out the door, but like, I guess the VCS guys have a motherboard and like a 4K output thing, and I guess they have Tempest. I don't know. You would have done a 5-minute video about not being able to climb that wall. No, I figured I was doing it wrong. I'm like, okay, so apparently you got to do the spin or a dive, so yeah. And you can make that sound with his teeth. Nintendo going to reference. Oh, that'd be great. I love when they do that. I don't know. I was never a big Super Nintendo kid or NES kid. Like, I had an NES growing up. Oh, wait. Oh, I wasn't supposed to go this way. I guess I was supposed to swim down. Well, this reminds me of Rocket Knight. Ah. Womp womp. You know you do. Come on. Miko is a disaster. It plays smartphone-type games at a cost of like $200. Sorry. Oh yeah, I have no, trust me, I have no feelings in the game at all. The only thing about the Miko I thought was interesting was because I have a weird addiction to Missile Command, and he had this whole thing where it was like he had like people playing Missile Command with smartphones and the console. I was like, God, I would love to play like multiple player Missile Command. That was it. That was the only thing I had on that one. But yeah, but at least with Tommy Tellerico, he has his own funding path and stuff like that. I don't think he did a Kickstarter, right? But I know the VCS guys, they're in real sketchy territory, especially with online Atari gambling, and I guess they're doing, what, hotels or something? I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting in its own right, for sure. But I'm just like, who does that really resonate with? I mean, like, does it... Because I don't think it really resonates with, like, baby boomers, maybe Gen Xers a little bit. Ugh, it's annoying you can't just Into the... Oh, oh god. It just has a skull in here, huh? Yeah, that'd be my first instinct. Get inside another mouth. Now he just has stone in his stomach? Okay. I guess I'm no longer inside the belly of a beast. Did he? I thought he did. I could be wrong. Could be very wrong. Oh, yeah, yeah. Hotels, gambling, what? Yeah, I don't know, just VCS and that. I don't know. It's... They're doing some weird stuff. I know, like, the lead designer of the VCS was, like, somebody from Xbox, right? He was one of the ones working on that, and then he left in a tiff because he's like, yeah, this is a scam. These people are not genuine or something like that. I remember the, I don't know if you guys remember the Sega Spartan guys? Remember them at all? Oh my god, this is... That looks like Krusty the Clown. Okay, this is great. I love this. I love the turtle buttons. It's like, I'm not even cheating, because it's built into the hardware itself. That feels really great. That is the most emo haircut. I love it. It's like 2008 Paramore right now. I love it. We're 2 days into quarantine. Oh my god, it's just nice finding a decent single player game. And this is sadly empty. Glad Jeremy got the reference. Ah! Ah. What are those, really? Possessed flower monsters, huh? That alien went for 30 years. Oh, wow. So, other than Thunder in Paradise and Rise of the Robots, what other games have you ever beaten on stream? I don't know. What games have I played that I could beat in stream? Probably not many, to be honest with you. None that I can recall, but then again, usually I get kind of trashed. I don't know, I was playing Rome Total War one time, but you guys hated that. I remember John making the pun, Rome Total Bore, and that made me sad. For that one, but that just, I don't know, it's me against a computer in Rome Total War, I can't really lose. If that makes sense. So, I mean, theoretically, if Rome Total War had the stream gone on for 24 hours... Oh, apparently I cannot... Got the frothing in the mouth! That's great. I love it. I love it so much. Yes, she is old. No worries, man. Something like that. Cool fashion. We're living in a cyberpunk dystopia. I feel like clothing should be cooler. Am I fighting a tree, or am I like... Oh, you're supposed to like hit it to get across, right? Or, no, never mind. You can just barely just go across. You got started to get it. That is true, because I was, I find it, if I make the mistake of... I start drinking before while I'm setting up, and then by the time I actually start getting the games going, I tend to be just worthless. But yeah, but Starfleet Academy on PC, it's a game I haven't touched in like, I waited 20 years. So I really did not remember how to do any of the functions. And normally, when I had those games, you know, back in the 90s when they came out, I had the manual with them, so I knew what key combos to hit to turn things on. And going back on it now with Steam, I'm like, I have literally no idea what I'm doing. Someone's like, oh god. But so I'm gonna go ahead and refill my drink again because it's that kind of night. I'll be right back. And we're back. Oh, Zero Mancer, you playing Historicnerd bingo in terms of my refill status time? My what? No, she's not actually my stepmom anymore. What? So there's doing a Star Trek 25th anniversary stream to my friends the other night. Some of the bone holes. Oh, that's great. My God, I feel like this would be a crazy stressful level. Without my, cheating and using the turbo controller. Oh, what? I should be invincible. Alrighty. We might actually beat Bonks. The hell are those? Like, skinless mole rats? Oh god. Okay, how is it I can swim through the digestive tract of a dinosaur and not die, but suddenly touch acid in a random cave? Unless somehow we're all inside the dinosaur, because I never saw us come out of it. It's rather, Inception-y. Went to boot camp with a roadie for Paramore? That's fantastic. Metamucil, but no Tums. Oh, I gotta start back here? Oh, that sucks. Oh god, the delay in the jump kills me. It literally makes me think my controller is damaged. Oh my god. Get wrecked. But Jack, how's it going, man? See, a good game though. Bonk got me to buy a TG16 back in the day. You know, that's like I was like I've been putting together a history video on this, and that's one of the big things. Like once Bonk came out, it was like they needed that like mascot for the company, but it just wasn't quite enough because they couldn't push it the way they needed to. Inigo Montoya, how you doing, man? Not hanging out? Come on. Alright. Got that frothing in the mouth, like every time. It's like, damn. God, the way that moon just follows him is rather unsettling. So what do the smiley faces do in terms of... Are they score? They provide health of any kind? I don't know yet. You're waiting to see how entertaining the stream can go. I understand that. Should have made the spaceship from blazing lasers. Oh, yeah. It's haunting to remember. You failed the Allied powers, and the evil Axis alliance has destroyed all the peace and tranquility of the world. These pterodactyls, man. Wait, did Metal Slug do that? I'm trying to remember the details on that one. Are we talking like the Neo Geo arcade cabs, or is there like another port of the game I'm missing? Yeah, freaking blazing lasers though. I freaking love that game. That is a solid hell smut. Ah, what? I feel like the fact I'm cheesing right now, and I'm like, ah, freaking the game got me for cheesing. I'm like, what? I really shouldn't be mad that the game punished me for basically cheating, despite the fact. Completely missed that. No, get up! Get up! No, no! Ah! They bleed plasma. Ah, this one again. Okay. Tell you what, let's switch to Blazing Lasers for a bit. A game that was generously donated by Zeromancer to the channel. Okay, we're good. I always love the ship in this. It reminds me a lot of like Zentradi ships from freaking Robotech. Takes a bow. If you're gonna play donated games, do not play those donated PlayStation games. I don't know if any of you guys saw the stream I did. Jeremy Dixon had sent me a large collection of Japanese PlayStation games you purchased while you were stationed there, and a lot of those were just... Oh, man. Good times. Oh, man. Freaking great game. Oh, God, I love Blazing Saddles. Them rules. That was one of my dad's all-time favorite films back in the day. And I don't know, it was really funny trying to show that movie to my wife. And just some of the vulgar language and stuff like that just made my wife genuinely uncomfortable. So I'm like, ah, man, it ruins it. But I have to say, the equipment here, the OSSC and the, I can never say the device correctly, but it's a S-video and a composite converter. This makes this shmup actually really responsive. It's pretty great. Downside of games like this, it's really hard to follow the chat. I need to pick up a freaking arcade stick. No one understands the context anymore. That was fairly... Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. Yeah, that was funny. I had figured it was him, but the funny thing was I was like going to a training thing for like a month-long event. And so I called him and I was like, hey, so I'm getting genuinely uncomfortable with the idea of leaving my wife home alone while copies of the film Hitman just start piling up on my front yard. So it was just in there. So I'm like, so I genuinely need to know if it's you or not, because I'm uncomfortable just like, you know, leaving my wife alone for a month. He's like, yeah, it was me. Because apparently Big Lots was selling copies of that movie for like 7 cents a piece or something like that, so we bought like 20 of them or something like that. Oh, God. See, the only thing I dislike about blazing lasers is how you can inadvertently bone yourself by picking up the wrong power-up. Oh, God, I was reading the chat. Ugh. DVD mystery solved. Tried to... Never found them cheap enough, yeah. I guess you had to go to Big Lots, you know, that store that eerily feels like Kmart. So I have 2 brothers. So my oldest brother, who lives like not like 2 subdivisions over from me, was just like dumping him on my lawn. So I have like 7 copies of that freaking movie now. Okay, so get a shield or a drone buddy. God, I really need an arcade stick. Because the only issue, like my thumb, just gets really worn out when playing shmups like this. Ah! This one. It's like a shmup equivalent of a, no! Lost my, one of the other one. Damn. I was trying to say shmup equivalent of a shotgun shell, but apparently that was far too difficult for my tongue to enunciate at this point. Okay, we made it past it. Let's go and drink more. Alright guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and put a little GIF on for you guys. And I'll be back in just a minute. So enjoy that. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Alrighty, back to this. Sorry if I was blinding you with that white light. Should probably find a different gift for that. But ultimately, I hope you guys are having a great evening. I hope you guys are, just enjoying yourselves overall. Oh, gray background. Yeah, I probably should. Honestly, I find a lot of my videos, I really enjoy the, just the white background because it looks clean and rather sterile. But I guess it can be kind of, blinding to folks. So probably reevaluate that. Excuse me. So this is the part I seem to have the most difficulty with most of the time. Or actually, I think it's just after this. More homing? Okay. Oh. These aren't homing, there it is. Nothing got a good build going on right now. Just gonna chill over here and... Oh! Who designs a missile that can do a right angle? Like, ah. I'm never ready for the right angle, like, ever. It's, That's painful. But yeah, alright. Let's go ahead and switch to, let's see, the Military Madness Bonk's Adventure. This guy. Let's switch over to, let's do some Keith Courage, just for old-timey sakes. This is such a strange choice for a pack-in. What's a floaty he was? It's weird. I feel like the execs at NEC North America were like, hey, see this game? It looks a lot like Mario. I mean, like, we should do a Mario type game. We were beating it, but it wasn't memorable. Yeah, it's kind of like, apparently this game was, it's based on Waterloo or something like that, which was a PC Engine title that was basically a really cheap, just tie-in game to some anime, I guess. And NEC America picked it up and renamed it Keith's Courage after Keith, whatever his name was, who was the NEC America, like, division head, to, like, kind of butter up to him. And they picked this game because it apparently had scored best with boys and girls. But also, I feel like they picked it because it looks a little bit like Mario and the platforming aesthetic of it. Because I think that was probably one of the few games on the PC Engine at the time that, like, had that same looking aesthetic. But I could be very off base on that theory, but yeah. Hey, Orphan, how you doing, man? Doing good. Just kind of enjoying the TurboGraphx here and relaxing. Oh god, that was a mistake. Okay, yeah. It's as a kid. America likes kids. There's a guy named what was it? It's a Cat Media or something like that. He did this great, like, he did this whole sequence. He animated it was the December of 1989, and it's like this whole thing where he has like this baby boomer going to Toys R Us trying to buy a game, or trying to buy a game system. He's like, "Oh, is this the Nintendo what Billy wants?" He's like, "Well, no, this is the Sega system." He's like, "Oh, the Sega Nintendo." Oh, it was just fantastic. But yeah, so some of the discussions like. In '89, Nintendo did like a $99.99 sale for the entertainment bundle, which came with the light gun, Duck Hunt, Mario Brothers, all that, and like they sold out. So a lot of guys just ended up buying the Sega Genesis because it was $189.99 as opposed to $199.99. Yeah, but it was a fantastic video this guy put together. And we'll see if I'm, oh, Jesus. Apparently Keith Courage is the wrong game to be playing when I'm misinebriated. Let's get further along, shall we? I know we can play some Splatterhouse, but I know that irritates Jeremy Dixon quite a bit. Is that like a Tai Chi sword? Is that what he has? Stabbing moles and hard hats, apparently. Oh, what was that? Come on! Ah, Jesus. This game is overrated and boring. No, I get it. Oh, okay. Just been updating the new house. Oh, when'd you move, man? More saving myself 10 grand and like, oh yeah. No, yeah, I completely feel you there. Like, I had to completely, like, I bought this new house, and they, for whatever reason, like, when I bought the house, they wouldn't negotiate in a deal to do the backyard. Like, no matter what. They did the front yard, and they did that just the crappiest way possible. But I had to do the backyard myself. I ended up having to bring in, like, 20 cubic yards of earth and shoveling that into the backyard to like raise it up to where it wasn't flooding constantly. And so I was like talking to a guy, and he wanted to charge me like 15 grand to do that. And I'm like, fuck you. Because it was like, I'm like, that's $300 worth of earth I can bring into my backyard myself. And then it's only going to cost me like $600, $500 worth of parts to build the sprinkler system. And then like $200 for a couple of days to rent a freaking trench auger. So I'm just like, come on, man. 15 grand? Ugh. I feel you there, man. Yeah, dude, I feel really bad. Like my wife's folks, they were trying to sell their property like right before the whole quarantine stuff hit. So I'm like, ugh. Sure, MatPat did a video decrying Call of Duty for encouraging, like, what the fuck? Oh, I haven't followed MatPat in a long time. I can't remember what it was, but like, there was some video he did that I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm kind of done watching you. It was just something I felt just annoying. I don't know, but I remember like MatPat coming out on like Screw Attack back in the day with like really like low-level production videos and just blowing up. I think one of the ones like he really blew up with back in the day was how fast does Sonic actually run, and he was like using like math to figure out in the cutscenes based on how fast he was passing city blocks or something like that. God, that's like a decade ago at this point. But I remember him doing like stuff where he's doing like Dexter, like the serial killer stuff. He probably didn't really want 15 grand contractors up. No, I believe that. I was just like, no, I'm not gonna. I'm like, no, I'm good. I remember like my old house. It was like I had this one guy who wanted to charge me, but this was also like 10 years ago. Like this guy was like, oh, you know, 3 grand, I'll do it. I'm like, fuck you, I can do it cheaper. And so I found another guy who did it for 900. So I was like, screw you, man. But when I had the guy that did it for 900, I literally just watched over his shoulder the entire time, and I'm like, oh, this is stupid easy. And so I figured all that out. So on my house now, I just did it all myself. And I think like I'm literally out the door once I like spent all the money and everything. I think I spent like $1,200 doing my whole sprinkler system. And that's with me repairing my front yard, because it had a giant dead spot in the front, because it sucked. So I used to be a general contractor for about 3 years. Oh, okay. Nothing years. Oh, I can feel it there, man. Sam cleared of being CIA. That's good to hear. Oh, that's funny. What was it like? Nah, I can't remember it, but yeah, in terms of being like sore places I couldn't remember. There was a when I was going through officer candidate school. There's a phase 1, which is basically just legalized hazing for basically 2 weeks straight. And holy crap, I was like sore as crap during that, because it was just like before you could eat chow, you had to run like 3 miles. I'm like, it sucks. And like we're doing it in like combat boots, which is one of those things where apparently like legally you're not supposed to do that, but no, they do that crap in the army. But yeah, good times. Show some thigh. I don't have the camera angled right for that. I think cleavage would be the better way to do it, wouldn't it? Or like feet. The thing that gets me about Keith Courage is like when they were complaining about some other titles, they're like, oh no, these games are way too Japanese. We can't port these ones as our pack-in title. And they picked Keith Courage, arguably one of the most just Japanese titles they could have possibly picked. Like these mechs with just freaking Remington revolvers for their freaking heads. Oh, what time is it? It's gonna be about just after midnight for me. What? I had not heard that one, so. That is quite the change. I find it annoying that the AI can jump down the spikes, but I cannot. Teaches me wrong. I don't understand how you go from Chinese rural village holding a Tai Chi to going to a mech warrior type thing here. I don't get the thematic change in the story and the way this game goes. Am I alive? What's machine life? Couldn't tell you. Did the whole think therefore I am thing, but that's really on you. Nope. No lessons for me. Alright. No answer, Caporal. No answer is Caporal B. Love the Rainbow Warp. Yeah, like freaking what is that called? The Bifrost? Freaking Thor. Frog arrived. I love when he jumps. It's like this great little like. I feel it. I picture it in my mind. That's how I look when I skip. I don't know how you guys feel with that. That one's all on me. Oh, shit. I need some more round, I think. If it was any other way, would you, Yeah. Definitely getting there, I can tell you that. Let's see here. So we have... Dungeons and Dragons Griffin... Legendary Axe 2. Which is kind of like the greatest, like whenever you get that weird flail weapon, like my purse. Or, it's just a final lap, actually. This game's pretty great. I'm definitely going to have to refill my drink here in a minute, though. I will say, though, like, for the TurboGraphx 16, it has the least satisfying game insert of any of the consoles of this generation. I took myself. Oh, gee, that's, when was that song? Like, 92, 93? I'll be right back. I'm gonna refill my drink and, hang on one sec. Okay, and we're back. Oh yeah, this game does have autopilot. You know what? Let's go ahead and switch over to Legendary Axe 2. This game is just rather so damn wonky. Switch to that for a moment. We'll go back to final lap. Excuse me. Dude, I like Gladiator movie. Do you mean the one starring Russell Crowe back in the day? I kind of enjoyed that film. Maximus Aurelius. So I'm basically pretty much entirely out of chaser at this point. So I'm drinking just almost straight rum. No, I think I missed that from Matt Pat. Damn, so this guy jumps? Holy crap. This guy literally can jump just like 12 feet. I hate the fact that select is your pause in this game. So this is where you fight the California Raisin. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually like rather impressed with TurboGraphx for the time. Because like, a lot of its like launch titles were dramatically more attractive than a lot of the stuff that came out of the early Genesis. Jeremy, no guarantees. Really, no guarantees. It's about 4 or 5 drinks deep at this point, and accuracy and follow-through is not one of my strong points, usually at this point in the stream, so we'll see where it goes. Killing green arm man, apparently. Alright. Oh yeah, well, Warner Brothers and that whole animation thing where they tend to, well, they just put a giant title card in the front saying that these cartoons are a product of their time, and censoring them is against the art of integrity or vision or whatever, the creators. But I guess you can kind of respect that. I mean, but like, you know, Warner Brothers has been really questionable stuff at the time. I mean, like, there was some interesting Popeye cartoons from back in the day that are certainly out there. Disney, I guess, is just more keen to just forgetting. What is it, like Songs of the South, or is that the one I'm thinking of? What, like, Zippity Doo Dah actually comes from? Yeah, Songs of the South, thank you. Yeah, I guess there are a lot of, what I find really fascinating, if you guys ever watched, or sat down and watched there's a Japanese cartoon called, like, Divine Sea Eagles from back in the day, like 1943-ish. That is a Japanese propaganda cartoon. They integrate footage from Pearl Harbor from the nose cone cameras of, like, Zeros attack Pearl Harbor and stuff like that. And the odd thing about it is the character designs they use for the Americans are pretty much exclusively based off of basically Popeye. Like, they look more like the Bluto guy. I don't know, it's kind of fascinating. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, how do you describe it? Where you're like, have to accept the fact this is how people were at some point and just discuss this is how things were. I think by trying to shy away from the conversation, you are being detrimental to the society as a whole, because you're not facing the way things were, you're just kind of ignoring them. You can certainly see it that way. God, I will say, like, the TG16 controller, just based on how small the D-pad is not comfortable on the thumb after prolonged play. Gotta criticize it there for that irrational reason. But yeah. I don't know, it's kind of fascinating if you look at it in the sense that, like, American animation in the 1930s, because you had the Superman cartoon that came out, and that was pretty much peak form for animation on the planet. Like, they were spending $500,000 contemporary funding on one Superman cartoon in the 1930s, which is amazing. And so, adversely, you had American cartoon and animation that was impacting culturally the design animation ethic of the Japanese at that point in time. So there were encouraging factors there. So they were crossing over, and it's absolutely fascinating. There's a guy named Captain Kristan that actually kind of goes into that. Because if you look at, like, the early works of Miyazaki with some of his works, like I think like Castle in the Sky, they were very impacted by early 1930s animation. It's freaking fascinating. But it's also, a lot of that came from just American animation, like, really, in terms of, like, funding and where they were going, really peaked out in the 30s. Hmm. Yeah. What was it? What, Lovecraft and the author of Conan the Barbarian were, like, best friends or whatever? God, that thing's creepy as hell. Okay, what is the best way to not get smacked in the face by this thing? Jeez, I could kick my ass fast. Okay, so I got Resurrect there. Now the question is, right now, am I going to the end of the level or just beginning right now? Oh my god. Okay, that hurt. Now, I think if I go this way, I think I'm going back to the waterfall, but I'm just going to verify. Okay, yeah, I think I need to go back this way and go up. Yep. Oh, wait, no. Shit. Come on! Ah. That, There we go. Hey, Dade, how you doing, man? You know, I'm never been a huge fan of Final Fantasy. So the whole, like, I don't know, I was never a fan of Final Fantasy 7. Like, I thought, like, oh cool, pretty game, whatever. But never really enjoyed it. So I guess, I don't know. Wish I had something deeply inspiring or fascinating to say about the current state of the Final Fantasy series, but was not thoroughly impressed by pushing a car simulator in terms of where that series has definitely gone. Ah, God. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay. Alright, you know what? Let's go ahead and close up on Splatterhouse. Let's switch over to that one for a minute, because Legendary Axe is driving me nuts. Or I guess we could play some Order of the Griffin. D&D the game. I jump on with you. I'd have to have Skype, or are you in my Discord or not? But honestly, Dave, I don't think I'm gonna be going much longer, man. Because I am, unfortunately, getting there. But Data, are you in my Discord at all, or no? Let me go ahead and try and launch that really quick. Hang on, I'll send an invite link to folks so you guys can come in. That was unfortunate. But I think if you have an account, you can do it via browser. You don't necessarily even have to. Well, I'm downloading updates, but alright. I'll just let that run while I play this game and struggle like normal. Okay, so the funny thing, if you do max turbo, it doesn't really punch, but if you do middle turbo, it does automatic for you. There we go. The benefit of this game is there's no time limit, which I feel like a lot of games in this era would have punished you for. I don't know, what's really intriguing, I was talking to a guy, George Harrison, who runs Gaming Alexandria, and he was sharing some fun factoids with me about how NEC was trying to push the TurboGraphx like PC Engine as a arcade hardware build. And the idea was you could buy like their whole like board setup and then put that in your arcade cabinet. You could change it out for like significantly cheaper. I don't know, it's fascinating stuff, but I guess there could have been like some issues there where that actually like led towards game manufacturers and arcade publishers like veering away because it was like their attempt to eat at their profits. I don't know, fascinating stuff. But also probably far more inebriated to elaborate on that than I probably should be. But yeah. Punching bats out of the air. Oh god. Yeah, unfortunately, my only real interaction with like Lovecraft works have all been through like contemporary sources. Like, yeah, what was that film? Early '90s, late '80s, starring the actor from Jurassic Park. What was that one called? Like based on a Lovecraftian story. That's like most of my experience in Lovecraft. I'm just actually reading the work, not so much. Oh, come on. Oh, restart. Nice. Play ball. What I find interesting is, like, I would say like 2 years ago, like, Splatterhouse was probably like $75. But I feel like this game has actually dropped significantly in the last couple of years. Well, eBay, it's only like $35 now. Okay, I'm gonna play D&D. Keep my ass kicked here. No, I am not on Discord. Oh, okay. But yeah, actually, now I think I have my Discord launched. One sec here. Let me. But if you guys are not involved in my Discord at all, go ahead and feel free to join here. So you have that. Alright, let's go and switch from Flatterhouse to D&D House of the Griffin, just because that's kind of a fun one to check out about where they were pushing the hardware back in the day, but yeah. Enjoy the Rainbow broadcast. While I struggle to put a cue card back into its little rubber sleeve here. Alright. No, I mean, I don't mind like decent debates, provided it's not just absolutely crazy, where you're just completely ignoring factual evidence. Like, I don't see any issue with the discussion or open debates or disagreement, but like, you reach a point with some folks where it gets unhealthy. It could be, yeah, because the Splatterhouse has been remade a couple times. Okay, let's select fighter. It's the varying fighters. That's kind of interesting. Oh, sorry, no one is tougher than me. I'm strong, healthy, and fast. Okay. And then I'm the strongest fighter around. You know what? I'm picking you just because you look like one of the bad guys from Aladdin. I feel like we need a elf in the group. You can cast spells off fast in combat. I can fight, but... You know what? I'm going to pick you. I don't even know if you're a male or female. Halflings, no, because I don't really need to, be tiny and punch stuff. Alright, tell you what. Whoever wants to join me in chat, if you're in the Discord, feel free to hop in there. And I'll bring you into the Discord chat. We can just have a fun little community event here. Wrong button. Okay. So hop into voice chat, and I'll just go ahead and go in here. Alrighty. Hey, Dave, can you hear me? Yeah, any luck? All right. Well, yeah, go ahead and jump in the community chat. If you guys have access to the Discord, feel free to hop in. We can do a voice chat in there. Oh my god, I despise Discord at times. Just because of the way the button needs... the button... It's the interface. Let's do a, cleric for healing. Defend the faith. Go with you. Let me check my own Discord settings. So I'm not sure I hear anything coming out of Discord. 1 sec. Yeah, open invitation to anyone. If you want to jump in, John, go ahead, man. All right, let's see if that worked. Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Now I can hear you.
Okay, good. No, I was saying that you feel about Discord, how about Skype. I don't even like using Zoom to my daughter in Guam, but right now that's kind of the only choice I
got. So you're using Zoom? Yeah, I despise Discord just because of the way the interface is designed primarily.
It can be a little wonky. I've been on Discord in about 6 months.
Yeah.
When I signed back in after 6 months, it asked me to verify through my email. I'm like, an email? I just don't use it that much.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I hadn't talked to you in a while, and I wasn't gonna badmouth anybody or anything. It's just I had played Final Fantasy. I grew up with Final Fantasy VII. Like it came out when I was like 23. Now me being pushing 45. But I bought the remake, and I'm thinking, okay, I know it's not going to be insane. I didn't want it to be, but I wish they would have titled it Final Fantasy VII Altered Destinies, because it would make so much more sense and so much more malleable to deal with. And I think Fist said it best, where he says it's basically Final Fantasy 13 and 2 in the clothing of Final Fantasy VII. I was like, that's actually what a lot of it reminds me of. The side quest very much of Final Fantasy 12, and I think they would have really won over, because I'm not going to tell people not to play this game. If they want to play it. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. I think they would have won me over if they gave me the battle system original. But one of the good things that they do have is you reach into your inventory to grab like an item or use magic. It kind of like very bullet times the scenario. The chance to do that without immediately getting stomped. But I think the game's, for me, not really. I think if anybody really wants to know how I feel about the game, the Not Variety Hour did a video on it, I think yesterday or the day before, and I said, perfect. That's exactly why the plus and minuses to this game, and why I'm not going to bother finishing it for another 6 months. Because it has so much packing, like stuff in a mattress. That's how much packing it is. Player. Seems like, I didn't want a remake, because some of the stuff that's in there it's really faithful to the original, that are fun. There are parts that are really good, but I think a lot of it is and I do agree with Razor Fist. I think it's Final Fantasy 2 in 7 Club.
What are you talking on right now? Are you using a?
You probably hear my fan next to me.
No, I guess I hear you cutting out a bit, and I'm having a hard time following all the way through, if that makes sense.
Oh, well, I've got my Bluetooth on. So I wouldn't be surprised if
Oh,
that's what.
okay, I gotcha. I was sitting there, I was like, I'm following you for the most part, but like you're cutting out intermittently once in a while, and I'm like, okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
What what part did you miss?
I don't know. I think I got the general gist of you disliking Final
Okay.
Fantasy VII Remake. I don't know. For me, I was never into Final Fantasy to begin with, so I never had that emotional connection to it. The only thing I thought was intriguing was that I thought the game was pretty when it came out in the '90s, and my brother got it on PC. So I thought it had that going for it. But aside from that, I was kind of like just thoroughly unimpressed by the title and the concept overall. But yeah.
It's funny because the original one came out on the Nintendo. It was SquareSoft's, back then it was SquareSoft's last ditch effort to save their butts. They basically, the history of Final Fantasy is literally an NES game. We're gonna call it Final Fantasy. We're gonna screw it. We're gonna bankruptcy if we don't come up with something good.
Yeah.
And they had a hit on their hand, and then next thing you know, now we've got 15 1 through 15. I'm like, well, I love to jab at it. It's like, well, it's called Final Fantasy. I mean, isn't that, kind of redundant? I'm like, yeah. Final Fantasy Part 2, Final Fantasy Part 3. It's like, So.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, so I can get off the subject here. I really want to know what I think because I don't know if you heard this part. Go check out Cosmonaut Variety Hours video on Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I guess, I don't know. Final Fantasy's never been my forte, so I kind of just... I'm like, cool, I'm glad that game's coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, is that, John Roger? How you doing, man?
Not bad, just saying, Final Fantasy VII's overrated.
yeah, it kind of is. I can barely hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, you sound surprisingly far away at the moment. But yeah, Jeremy, this is going through Composite right now.
Maybe I'm having the same Bluetooth issues.
Yeah, are you? Yeah, if you're using Bluetooth, probably.
The game that I've never played is Bonk because we never had a TurboGraphx 16. My parents barely ever got it, and they never got me a Super Nintendo, and quit for the longest time. And then when I had my own first job at Wendy's, into the military, is how I bought my PlayStation, which leads me back to Final Fantasy. I'd rather not, but.
I remember going and hanging out with my brother. Like I lived in Humboldt County, and he moved north to a city called Crescent City. And I remember like going out and hanging out with him, and his roommate just constantly played Final Fantasy VII. And I'm like, I'm really not impressed by this. Just.
I think you and I are of the standard. Home consoles were great at a certain times, were better still. Still had the good arcade games. He had. I know I had the Ninja Turtle 4-player, the X-Men 6-player, played the Terminator game where you shot the gun, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I guess it was never. I think JRPGs just really weren't my jam. In terms of, like, I was very much into, like, real-time combat at that point in time, because I think, I had the adverse advantage of being spoiled by, like, RTSs and stuff like that. Ooh, we got Jeremy Dixon coming in. But yeah, here, let me go ahead and post the stuff in the chat here, so if you guys want to join, feel free to do so. I'm going to go ahead and get an updated link here, and I'll just post that again in the chat. So if any of you want to happen to join the Discord, feel free to do so. So we just keep doing that. Fine, the disadvantage I'm at right now, I'm completely out of mixer right now, so I'm just drinking straight rum. So this is going bad.
I was going to say that you grew up playing tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons then?
No, never. Sorry, real-time strategy games. I never really played D&D, stuff like that.
No, I thought you were talking about D&D. I didn't get to hear the part of the real-time strategy.
Oh no, sorry. I meant to say my issue with JRPGs was I never liked the idea of turn-based. I always liked the idea of real-time, like Command and Conquer, because that was kind of like what I grew up on.
Was Command and Conquer your first RTS?
I'm trying to think of other RTS games I've played.
I think Age of Empires was mine.
I'm trying to remember what was first, because I played Command and Conquer and Age of Empires quite a bit. I'm trying to think of which one was first. But I played them both pretty aggressively. But, so how you guys doing? I haven't talked to you guys in a while.
No, I'm just doing some alcohol drinking.
It's the only way to spend weekends in these trying times. Yeah.
I have a 74-year-old mother I have to take care of, and daughter being in Guam still. Her vacation was their vacation is. We're supposed to go on vacation in Japan. Her whole little squadron going to come home for about a month and then ship off to North Dakota, and that just all got squashed. Next, COVID-19 yet.
No, yeah, I was supposed to have a deployment to Germany that was adversely canceled by the whole COVID-19 thing. So yeah. So 2020, I feel like 2020 couldn't get weirder. The only way I feel like this year could be capped off is Sega somehow did a surprise announcement of a new console at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and completely forgot the irony of a surprise Japanese event happening there.
And Sega will literally drop bombs.
Yeah, Sega would be like, oh, we're dropping bombs for the new Sega console here at Hawaii Pearl Harbor. And they just completely unironically just do not catch the fact what they're doing. And I'm like, God, that would be the only way. Yeah, December 7th, 2020, Sega does it, and they just unironically don't realize the irony of what they're doing, and that's the only way I could possibly end cap off 2020 for myself. I'm just like, yeah.
No,
that's what I'm waiting for.
If they want to do that in December, that's fine, because Kim Jong-un has passed away. I don't know if that's confirmed. Sister's gonna take over.
Yeah,
his sister's gonna take over. I'm sure that's going to be a fest on Twitter with how many people are gonna have fun with her. So it's like so we got this going on. We got Kim Jong-un's sister taking over, and apparently everybody's having like a weeaboo crush on her. And I'm thinking whatever. And so whatever else goes on, let's just end the year with a Japanese company dropping new video games at Pearl Harbor. Why not? That's it. I quit.
You know, you're selling 2020 better to me than I ever could possibly imagine. So that's oh my God. Wait, so are they actually saying they think he actually passed away?
No, you got to take a grain of salt with Chinese intelligence being what it is, because if I were to say anything about China, I would say that every country in the world needs to sue them into a bin or have them try war crime. That's just me.
I guess hold them accountable for copyright law. I think would be just a nice start. But yeah,
well, yeah, like that's gonna happen. That I was while I was watching some other live streams. That's one of the biggest things that people said, that when they were working parts of the industry, they had to keep tabs on everybody that literally was coming over from China as a guest. So it basically, like, if you remember what was in The Dark Knight, where Morgan Freeman's character goes over to China, they tell him to turn his cell phone in. Like, oh, I got mine right here. And the guy's like, okay. And, it's pretty much what other people do to China. It's kind of like, no, hey, you Chinese guy, you can't have cell phone. Get over, And they're not trusted. I think, I'm not getting politically, but the way they behave to be trusted.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they definitely have questionable business business tactics. Oh my god, I can't talk. Tactics. There we go.
Business tactics, yeah.
There we go.
I
can speak English at this point.
I would
but,
think
I've had far too much.
getting any more, but you might start speaking Korean to know it if we went with this. I would think that Korea, both North and South, and alone, have enough clout to say, we're going to take for copyright infringement through the ringer. It would also say, well, you know what? While you're having fun with that, why don't you take Bill Gates, Microsoft? I mean, he's the master thief. He barely ever created anything original. He stole a lot of stuff from Steve Jobs.
That's unfair. I think Steve Jobs stole quite a bit of stuff on his own. I think that's unfair to say.
I would say
Bill
right.
Gates.
I'll give you.
They both stole dramatically from Xerox. If we want to get specific on the crap they both jacked.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
And I would say, Tim Cook, you doesn't know how to create anything at all. I mean, the last good invention that I tell, the last good invention that had was the actual iPod. Look what they've done since. Nothing.
Well, I mean, they made the iPod irrelevant by, going the route of putting it into the phone. But yeah.
They shot themselves in the foot. And I think, since Steve Jobs died, Tim Cook took over. Then a joke because I keep having people tell me, you need to take your computer back to Windows 7. I said, God, I wish I would. I wish I could, and never do updates. It's a mixed bag because a lot of stuff that now you can't use on Windows 7. The system would be practically smooth and perfect otherwise. Supposed to be talking about your video game.
I don't know. I don't know where we're going right now. I'm drunk enough, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I have to say, I remember I built a new system forever ago, and it was I was checking out Windows Vista because I'll give it a shot. And Vista was such an odd shift for Microsoft because the funny thing was I remember the power off button was so random because it was it would either go into standby, power off, or restart. You never quite knew what it would do because they had, for whatever reason, they had consolidated the same power off logo into all three of those particular system functions. And I thought that was one of the funniest things they ever did. But one of the great things Vista brought into play was the search bar function just immediately attached to the Windows key, which I thought was a pretty great little streamline. But, I don't know, it was just goofy as hell, just how inefficient Vista was. But then, going to 7, you were like, oh, thank God. But then, 7, though, it was they literally could have just, they could have done anything slightly better and you would have been happy with the product. It was just what's the position 7 was in. But that's just me, though. Because I remember going from, Windows 98, going to Windows ME, and then getting access to XP. And ME was just this fantastic, just train wreck of an OS. But, with ME, at least you had the benefit of whenever you crashed your computer, it would take you the better part of, 30 seconds to reboot, because ME was, pretty streamlined in that regard.
I never had ME crash on me.
Really? God, my ME install back in the day, I crashed constantly, but the beauty of ME was that it just rebooted so goddamn fast. It was fantastic.
Yeah, the Windows I miss having the most was Windows 2000. Spent a lot of time in that. I used to know almost every trick.
Oh, really? Really? Did you know server functionality or something like that with 2000, or no? Just knew that OS.
Well, 2000 was professional only operating system. It was the upgrade from NT4.
Ah, okay.
So it's a lot more powerful than ME was and released at the same time. But of course, ME is the consumer branch, and it was more of a fork of 98.
Yeah. I remember my oldest brother. He had Windows 2000, but The fun thing, I always used to get my operating system from him because he would dump them on me. Because it was like he worked in Silicon Valley like for a long time with a variety of different startups trying to like make that fortune. But and so he'd always come up like every couple of months and help me build a new computer or something like that back in the day. And so he'd always give me like whatever operating system he had a free key for. But
Sorry,
what?
Sorry, I was reading some of your Thunder in Paradise articles here that you got on the side, the Discord here. I was caught up in that. I honestly,
yeah.
I didn't know anything about Windows or computers prior. Operating system was XP. I thought that was okay. I didn't mind Windows 7. Vista, I skipped over it. It was great up until they went past the 1809 build. Since then, it's been pissing me off. It's really the stupid little icons that they put everywhere that they... Because icons take up more space than type.
Yeah, to be honest, like 7 and Windows... I actually rather like Windows 10. I haven't really had too many problems with that. Well, alright guys, it's about it's just after 1 a.m. my time, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and stop the stream here. But
that's cool by me. I got 2:15 a.m. here in Iowa.
Damn. But yeah, definitely want to thank you guys for dropping by. I appreciate John and Dade, you guys dropping by in the whole Discord chat. I think I need to set up something later where we can all get together. But I want to thank all 12 of you guys who hung out in the chat on the stream. But I want to thank you guys for dropping by and have a wonderful night, evening, day, whatever you're doing. All right, bye.